To anyone who played video games in the 1990s, Flashback should need no introduction. Developed by French studio Delphine Software and released first on the Commodore Amiga in 1992, the game was a critical and commercial success thanks to its blend of cinematic cutscenes, platforming, puzzle solving and combat. In 1993, Flashback started making its way to every platform as Delphine looked to expand on its initial success, with PC, Mac, Mega Drive and Super Nintendo versions quickly followed in 1994 by ports to Mega CD, 3DO, Atari Jaguar and Mac CD-ROM. And it's this version which Saturn homebrew developer VBT has used to bring the game to the Sega Saturn. What you're seeing here is the game in action on Sega's 32-bit console, and best of all, this appears to be the final release. Now let me clarify that, because VBT entered an early build into the 29th anniversary Sega Saturn Sega Extreme Homebrew Contest in 2024, and has continued to work on it ever since. On October 5th, VBT released his latest version with a plethora of fixes and enhancements, stating that if no feedback in terms of bugs is provided, then this will be considered final, and I'm glad to report that so far, so good. VBT's port is based on the Flashback engine re-implementation called Reminiscence, and is a massive update on HKZ's 2009 version for Saturn. The main features of this new port include, based on Macintosh CD-ROM version, running at 512 by 448 resolution, as opposed to 256 by 224 like other platforms such as Mega Drive, Super Nintendo and PC. Support for English and French languages, 256 colours, a stable 30 frames per second, rendering rewritten for Saturn with 3 layers, one for backgrounds and foregrounds, one for sprites and one for menus, 5 or 6 additional cutscenes, CDDA audio tracks taken from the Mega CD version, added the missing shaking ground section on level 2 which was missing on the Mac version entirely, a Saturn specific control screen on the menu, in-game save state support and a Saturn exclusive resume game option on the main menu, and there's even a level select to allow you to try out any of the game's 7 stages and even view the end credits. So it's suffice to say that VBT has done an incredible job here, although he was assisted from a who's who of the Saturn homebrew scene, with thanks to Gregory Montoir, Cerbero, Double Dime, Sed, Wesker, Benjamin Sisko, Fafling, F-Care, Will and Tales of Saturn. Now the mention of Sed interested me though, because Sed, as many of you will know, is the creator of the Saturn ODE Fenrir, and the build that you download via VBT's link on Sega Extreme doesn't play nice with that ODE. If you run the build on Fenrir without any tweaks, you'll have no sound in cutscenes, no music during gameplay, long periods of blank screens when going between menus and the game, and even complete crashes where the screen goes black yet you can hear the sound effects of the game running. To fix this, you need to do 2 things, and a big shout out goes to Frogbull for his help with this. First, you need to change the name of track2.iso to track2.bin. Then we need to point the Q file, trckyabiso.q, to track2.bin. To do this, right click on the Q file and open it in WordPad if you're on Windows or TextEdit if you're on Mac. On the very first line, you'll see file track2.iso binary. Change ISO to bin, save the file and exit. And that's it. The game will now run flawlessly on your Fenrir, although sadly I couldn't get the game to run on the Saru. Flashback was a game I played a ton on the Amiga back in the day, and it's great to see it running so beautifully on Sega Saturn. It's a game that many may feel shows its age in terms of controls, but to those of us who grew up on the Amiga, playing not just Flashback, but games like Prince of Persia and Delphine's previous work Another World, it's like riding a bike. On Saturn, the A button draws your weapon, while B acts as an action button, fire weapon, pick up items, initiate jumps, grab ledges, etc. C is your use button, such as pressing buttons or switches. The start button brings up your in-game inventory, and the Z button brings up the Saturn specific menu for loading and saving your game. Navigating the game's terrain and platforms can be confusing at first, but it's relatively simple. In Flashback, movement is all about the player's position. You need to ensure that the character is exactly where they need to be to realistically grab the ledge above, drop down to a ledge below, or jump between platforms. To jump up and grab a ledge above, you simply press up on the D-pad. If you want to cling onto the ledge before pulling yourself up, hold the action button mid-jump. To lower yourself down to the ledge below, you hold down the action button, then press down on the D-pad. But be sure to position the character facing away from the ledge, as remember I said earlier, you need to be in the correct position to carry out the command. To pick up items, you need to press and hold the action button when standing directly above or in front of them. To jump between platforms, you need to walk to the edge of the ledge, hold down the action button and press up on the D-pad. For larger gaps, you'll need to perform a running jump. This is done by holding down the action button and pressing the direction you're facing to begin running. With the action button still pressed, press up on the D-pad as you approach the edge of the platform to perform a running jump. And when navigating the main menu, it's C to select an option and C to confirm, but if you want to come back out to the main menu again, you press Z, not B like we're accustomed to on Saturn games. Likewise, when the demo is running, pressing A, B, C or start will not take you to the main menu, it's Z. It's great to see such an iconic game not only come to Saturn, but enhanced using the very best features from the variety of versions down the years. If you've never played Flashback before, I can't recommend it enough. It's more than a platformer with some shooting elements, it makes you think, its puzzles are cleverly executed, and the enemies vary from stage to stage, with some creating a real sense of tension as you try to work your way around the levels. I've put the link to the Sega Extreme page in the description if you want to try this one out for yourself. Thanks as always for watching. This has been James, the Sega-holic of the Sega guys, and until next time, we'll see you on the Sega side.